Stop posting on social media for a second and listen to this. That photo you just shared, it's not yours anymore, and deleting it won't help. The battle for your privacy ended years ago, and you weren't even invited to the fight. Right now, somewhere in the world, there's a server storing every single thing you've ever posted online, every photo, every comment, every like. And here's the thing that nobody wants to talk about. These companies aren't just keeping your data, they're selling it, analyzing it, and using it in ways you probably never agreed to. Today, we're going to break down exactly how social media companies won the privacy war without most people even realizing there was a battle happening. And trust me, once you understand what's really going on, you'll never look at that post button the same way again. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you actually read the terms and conditions before clicking accept on a social media app? If you're like most people, the answer is never. And that's exactly what these companies are counting on, because buried in those thousands of words of legal text is the truth about what you're really giving up every time you post. Think about it. You wake up in the morning and check Instagram, you see an ad for something you were literally just talking about yesterday. Creepy, right? But here's what's even crazier. That's not a coincidence. That's not luck. That's the result of a massive surveillance operation that makes old spy agencies look like amateurs. Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, whatever you want to call them now, they're not just social networks. They're data collection machines. And you're not the customer, you're the product. Every single thing you do on these platforms is being tracked, recorded, and turned into a profile that knows you better than you know yourself. But here's where it gets really wild. Most people think they can just delete their posts or deactivate their account and everything goes away. Wrong. Once you put something on the internet, it's there forever. Even if you can't see it anymore, these companies still have it and they're using it. Let's go back to where this all started. In the early days of social media, it felt like magic. You could connect with old friends, share photos with your family, keep up with what everyone was doing. It was free, it was fun, and nobody really questioned how these companies were making money. But there's no such thing as a free lunch. While we were all busy posting selfies and sharing memes, these companies were building something much bigger. They were creating the most detailed database of human behavior that has ever existed. Here's how it actually works. Every time you open an app, you're being tracked. Where you are, what time it is, how long you spend looking at each post, what you like, what you scroll past, who you message, what you search for, all of it. And it's not just happening on the app itself. These companies have tracking pixels on millions of websites across the internet. So even when you're not on social media, they're still watching. Let me give you a real example. A few years ago, a major retailer figured out that a teenage girl was pregnant before her father did. How? Because she started searching for certain products online. The algorithms picked up on the pattern and started sending her ads for baby stuff. Her dad saw the ads and got angry at the store for sending his daughter inappropriate content. Then he found out she actually was pregnant. The algorithms knew before her own family did. That's the level of prediction we're dealing with here. These systems don't just know what you did, they know what you're going to do next. And it's not just about ads. Remember Cambridge Analytica? They harvested data from millions of Facebook users without permission and used it to influence elections. Facebook knew it was happening and did nothing until it became a public scandal. And even after all that, not much actually changed. The data collection continues, the surveillance continues. But wait, it gets worse. These companies aren't just collecting data about you. They're collecting data about everyone you know. When you upload your contacts to find friends, you're giving them access to information about people who never even signed up for the service. When you tag someone in a photo, You're training their facial recognition systems. When you share a post from someone else, you're helping them map out social networks and relationships. Every action you take feeds the machine, and the machine is always hungry. Now, you might be thinking, who cares? I have nothing to hide. But that's missing the point entirely. Privacy isn't about having something to hide. It's about having control over your own information. It's about being able to make choices about who knows what about you. Think about it this way. Would you let a stranger follow you around all day, taking notes on everything you do? Would you let them listen to your conversations, read your messages, look through your photos? Of course not. But that's exactly what we let social media companies do. The only difference is that it's digital, so we don't feel it happening. And here's something most people don't realize. When you agree to these terms of service, you're not just giving up your own privacy, you're giving up privacy for everyone around you. Your friends, your family, your kids, because all that data about who you interact with and how you interact with them, that's all being collected too. Let's talk about what these companies actually do with all this information first. They sell it to advertisers, that's the obvious part, but it goes way deeper than that. They sell it to data brokers who compile massive profiles on hundreds of millions of people. These profiles include things like your political views, your health concerns, your financial situation, your relationships, your habits, everything. Then those data brokers sell that information to anyone who wants to buy it. Insurance companies, employers, landlords, law enforcement, foreign governments. Anyone with money can access detailed information about your life. And before you say that this is illegal, it's not, because you agreed to it. Remember that terms of service you didn't read? You gave them permission to do all of this. You signed away your rights to your own data. But even if you never signed up for social media, you're still not safe, because enough other people have, and they've shared information about you. Someone tagged you in a photo, someone mentioned you in a post, someone has you in their contacts. The system builds a profile on you anyway, even if you never created an account yourself. This is what people mean when they say the privacy battle is over. It's not that we lost one specific fight. It's that the war ended before most people realized it had started, and the social media companies won completely. Here's another thing that should scare you. All of this data never goes away. Companies might promise to delete your account, but they don't delete the data. They just disconnect it from your name, but it's still there, still being analyzed, still being used. And what happens when there's a data breach? Because there are data breaches all the time. Facebook had a breach that exposed the data of over 500 million users. LinkedIn had one that hit 700 million. Twitter, TikTok, they've all had major security failures. When that happens, your personal information ends up on the dark web where anyone can buy it. But even without breaches, think about what governments can do with this data. China requires their social media companies to hand over user data whenever the government asks. Russia does the same thing. And in the United States, law enforcement can access your social media data with just a subpoena. No warrant required in many cases. So every post you make, every message you send, it's all potentially accessible to governments and law enforcement. And it stays accessible forever. Something you posted 10 years ago as a joke could come back to haunt you today. Now, the social media companies will tell you they're working on privacy. They'll show you new settings and features. They'll promise they care about protecting your data. But here's the reality. Their entire business model depends on collecting and monetizing your information. They can't protect your privacy without destroying their own profits. Mark Zuckerberg has said privacy is important. Jack Dorsey talked about it. Every CEO of every major platform has made statements about caring about user privacy, but Their actions tell a different story. They fight against privacy regulations. They find loopholes in existing laws. They do the bare minimum required and nothing more. Here's the moment of truth that everyone needs to understand. We're living through the greatest transfer of private information in human history. Information that previous generations would have killed to protect, we give away for free in exchange for the ability to post photos of our lunch. And the scariest part, we can't put this genie back in the bottle. The data that's already been collected isn't going anywhere. The profiles that have been built aren't going to be deleted. The surveillance infrastructure isn't going to be dismantled. It's too valuable. It's too powerful. And the companies that built it are too big to stop. This isn't some future dystopia we need to worry about. This is happening right now, today, every second of every day. While you're watching this video, data about you is being collected, analyzed, packaged, and sold. So what does all of this mean? It means that privacy, as we used to understand it, is basically gone. The idea that you could control who knows what about you, that's over. The idea that your personal life could be personal, that's finished. We traded it all away for the convenience of staying connected, and now we're stuck with the consequences. The social media companies won this battle not through force, but through making surveillance feel normal. They made us think that giving up our privacy was just the cost of using their services. They made it seem like everyone was doing it, so it must be okay. They made the terms so complicated that nobody would read them, then claimed we all agreed. And now here we are, living in a world where everything we do online is tracked, recorded, and monetized, where our private information is bought and sold like any other commodity, where the companies that promised to connect us have turned us into products to be packaged and shipped to the highest bidder. The question now isn't whether we can win back our privacy. That ship has sailed. The question is what we do with this reality. Do we just accept it and keep posting? Do we try to minimize the damage by changing how we use these platforms? Do we push for new laws and regulations even though they're probably too late? I don't have all the answers, but I do know this. Awareness is the first step. Understanding what's really happening, is important, because as long as people keep thinking these platforms are free and harmless, nothing will ever change. As long as people keep clicking accept without reading what they're agreeing to, the surveillance will continue to grow. The privacy battle might be over, but that doesn't mean we have to pretend everything is fine. We can demand better. We can push for change. We can make different choices about how we use technology. It won't bring back what we've already lost, but it might prevent things from getting even worse, because make no mistake, if we do nothing, it will get worse. The technology is getting more sophisticated. The data collection is getting more invasive. The algorithms are getting better at predicting and influencing our behavior. What we're experiencing now is just the beginning. So the next time you open up social media to post to something, just remember you're not just sharing with your friends, you're sharing with a massive data collection operation that will store, analyze, and monetize everything you put out there forever. The social media battle is over, privacy lost, and we all played a part in that defeat, whether we meant to or not. The only question left is what we do now that we know the truth. If this opened your eyes to what's really happening with your data, hit subscribe, because we're diving deeper into tech surveillance next week.